It's a very interesting picture of a young Donald Trump. That is Donald Trump right in the front there, leading his fellow students from the New York Military Academy down Fifth Avenue. This is October of 1963. One day, Donald Trump would have his own tower on Fifth Avenue, Trump Tower, of course, from which he would launch his successful presidential campaign. Yeah, Donald Trump wore a uniform. He wasn't in the military, but he wore the uniform of the New York Military Academy. That's located in upstate New York, not terribly far from West Point. And he did, by all accounts, very well there. He was the honor cadet, as I understand it. And you see in these photos, he is front and center in a position of leadership. It's pretty impressive. You may have seen this photo before, his graduation picture. Donald John Trump, DT was his nickname. The man on the left is Peter David Ticktin. They were friends back then. He went by Doc from Mount Vernon, New York. He's written a book about his times at New York Military Academy with Donald Trump. It's called What Makes Trump Tick? My Years with Donald Trump from New York Military Academy to the present. Peter Ticktin, welcome to Newsmax. How are you? Thanks for being here.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. Right.
You bet, you bet. New York Military Academy. All right, first of all, tell us your first impressions of Donald Trump. When you met him, I think you were not exactly the same year, a couple of years apart, but you did.
No.
Same year?
No, he started a couple of years before me. He was there for 5 years. I was there for 3. But we were seniors together. And in our senior year, we lived together. He was my captain. I was his platoon sergeant. And basically, he had me run a company for him. It was, I joke and tell people I ran his first company for him, Company A.
Very cool. What was he like?
You know what? He was a sweetheart of a guy. He was he was the kind of leader that you would want to meet. You'd want as your leader. In fact, with Donald, he was different than most of the others because the others basically led by fear. But Donald was just such a good guy that you just didn't want to disappoint him. And that was a better driver. It caused us to have success throughout the year. I mean, you know, you have to understand, this is a school that you don't leave. You get 5 days of Thanksgiving, 9 days at Christmas, and a week at Easter, which is what we called it then. And you're there all the time. And I just want to correct one thing you said. This was an actual ROTC school. If Donald would have gone into the military after high school, he would have gone in as a sergeant.
He wasn't technically in the military at that time, or was he?
Well, not technically. You're not enlisted.
Right.
But you're in ROTC.
It would have counted toward time, I guess. But, yeah. Hey, I'm a Trump fan big time, and I think this school is a great school. Although, according to some biographers, and you're a great guy to ask, Donald Trump was giving his father a hard time, kind of a rebellious kid, throwing birthday cake all over the place, punching out a teacher at one point. This is a legend. And, it was something of a school for, bad boys. Not a reform school, but perhaps, kids who needed to be straightened out. Any truth to that? And if there is, were you one of those kids who had to be kind of straightened out a little bit?
Yes and yes. And I'll tell you something. That's what changed. That's what changed Donald. Donald changed from being that wise guy, kid who pushed his way around to being somebody who knew and understood in short order how to color between the lines rather than to, break the rules. It really goes to this day. And also he learned how to give up, he became fearless. I mean, it didn't take that much courage necessarily to make our embassy and to move it over to Jerusalem, but it took a lack of fear.
A lack of fear. And I know what you're talking about with him. Hey, I want to ask you this, and then a more serious question in a moment, but I know we've seen this photograph before. Donald Trump, you've seen it before, ladies' man. I think it's from the yearbook. And he's actually credited with that ladies' man. He had that reputation. I don't know who the young woman is. I've always wondered that. First of all, tell us about Donald Trump's reputation in that department, if you will. And who is that young lady? Do you know?
Yes. It's all a myth. we didn't have any girls in our school. We were all boys, and we were there, as I was saying, all the time. It was a military academy, and so we, really there was no dating. You couldn't go to town to have dinner. That would be AWOL. You'd get kicked out. You had to be there all the time. So we would march into the mess hall 3 times a day. There's no dating. In fact, we had to find a girl who, we got a girl from the administration building who was one of the secretaries there. That's the girl that's in the picture.
Oh, what's her name?
I can find that out for you. I forget her name for now, but
all right,
believe me, that's where she came from.
I understand. We're almost out of time. I understand. We've heard before that he was a great athlete, very good, particularly at baseball, potentially had professional potential, potentially professional potential. He was that good. What position did he play?
Well, in baseball, he was a pitcher. But he played forward in soccer the year I was on a soccer team with him in grade 11.
How about this? I mean, it's very interesting and a very unique experience. For a year, you were roommates with a future president of the United States. That's kind of wild. That's a special insight that very few people have in this world. That's kind of that's really something.
Even then, he showed the leadership ability that he has now. He was an incredible human being at that point in time, and somebody that he would do things for people, help people, jump into place, where he didn't necessarily even belong, just to be able to protect somebody that needed protection or whatever. He's a guy that a lot of people are very grateful to for those little things that he did that changed our lives.
All right,
and I am included in that.
Peter Ticktin, it's What Makes Trump Tick, available wherever books are sold. Forgive me, but what kind of work are you in now, sir?
I'm a litigation attorney, courtroom lawyer. And, basically I do mainly business cases, but generally civil.
And I know you've kept up with Donald Trump. You've seen him in Mar-a-Lago, and that's beautiful. You guys literally go way, way, way back to the very beginning. Peter Ticktin, I look forward to reading this book, What Makes Trump Tick? My Years with Donald Trump, from New York Military Academy to the President. Thank you, sir.
Get the book. I guarantee you'll laugh out loud at least once.
All right.
It's a good book to read. It's fun.
Very cool. Thank you, sir. All the best.
Thank you.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.